This is Africa News Tonight on the Voice of America.
It's well known that extreme weather, droughts, floods, and heat waves are affecting crop yields this year. The non-profit As You Sow launched the Climate Inflation Initiative last week. Andrew Behar, CEO of As You Sow, says the initiative is an education tool to help people understand how climate change negatively affects everyone, especially people living in Africa, where the supply chain is not as large as in Western countries.
We see climate inflation as a bread and butter issue, literally. Not many people are talking about this, is really why we started this. Most people are blaming inflation on all kinds of other things, on monetary policy, on obviously the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which has caused a great deal of inflation, particularly the rise of gas prices, and then, of course, the oil companies gouging everyone at the pump. So those are definitely part of it. But we just hadn't seen anyone really talking about the root cause, which is that crops, that commodities, raw commodities, cotton, are just simply having, just producing less. I mean, you look at the cotton harvest in Texas, and I think it's going to be down 40% this year. So that's got to drive prices up. Pakistan, they provide a great deal of cotton to the world markets, and those floods that are happening now are going to just completely have a very negative impact on crop yields. So these are things that I think people need to start to think about when they think about climate change, that this is the result.
What can people do to try to reduce the effects of climate change on, their monthly budgets, trying to just get by?
There's been a whole movement. I don't know if you know what a victory garden is. During World War II, people started growing their own food. They turned their lawns into vegetable gardens and started sharing within their communities. That's been actually a pretty big movement that's been happening around the world. You don't want to water lawns. That's a waste of water. People can grow a ton of food if you have even a small patch of yard. So I would say grow your own food. I would also say buy locally, farmers markets, and also support regenerative agriculture. There is a way of growing food that actually makes the soil richer at each harvest. This is using cover crops, rotating fields, not using pesticides. As You Sow is a nonprofit. We're a 501c3 that works directly engaging big corporations on a lot of these systemic issues. And we engaged General Mills back in 2017 about regenerative agriculture. And over the course of 2 years and working with their scientists, what they realized is that the industrial ag farms, when you have a climate superstorm, it washes away all the soil. But a regenerative ag farm, it actually retains the water and retains the soil. So in 2019, they signed a pledge that said that their entire supply chain would only buy from regenerative ag. And when you ask them why, they say it's because we need a resilient supply chain.
That is Andrew Behar, CEO of the nonprofit As You Sow. He was speaking from Berkeley, California, with viewers Carol Van Dam.